Okay, you guys, let's get into this Q&A. I was reading some of the comments, cracking up during this. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so it says, "Hi, Allie. I was wondering if there are specific questions or tools when trying to use intuition in order to find out my soul gifts. I've been practicing using my intuition and in my gut feel like this type of work is in the realm of my purpose slash what I'm meant to be doing, but I really struggle with turning into my unique soul gifts and soul pull. If you can lead me in that direction or give me some hints to what my soul pull wants me to know, I'd be so grateful." Okay, great question. I love that. So with how I train people's intuition is very specific and very intentionally in order. So I don't train how to find yourself with intuition, your soul pull gifts until the last module of level 3. But what I can do is I can read like 2 soul gifts for you right now that you can focus on. And if you want to do those yourself, my suggestion would be going to all the levels to learn that. But one of your soul get like, okay, if I go into intuition being one of them, it is a 98%. So anything a 93 or higher, 93% is like the level, to give you an idea, that you'd have to be to qualify for the Olympics, to get into to be an Olympic athlete. So you're at 98% with intuition. So that's really high. So that's a soul gift that I would definitely dive into. Another one to dive into is communication. I would start to read this book. Tests really high for you. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. It's a book. He is a ex CIA hostage negotiator, and he gives really good tools on how to get people for him to do what he wants, but you can use those tools to get people to do what their higher self wants, which is really cool. Like, you'll have their egos fighting you, but you can use those tools to get them on their higher self's side. Dive into that one too. So focus on intuition and communication. Okay. It says, "Hi, Allie. I have no intuition when it comes to love. Now, looking back, I think I had good men coming my way, but I couldn't see them. What can I do to go from single to married?" Oh, fun. Okay. So I'm going to give you a manifesting tool for this one for now. It's a fun one. You're going to write down a list of this tool is how I created Justin. So it's a great one to a T. So you're going to write down a list of 125 attributes or more. So minimum's 125. If you need to add more, you add more. So 125 attributes of my desired romantic relationship situation. I wouldn't say situation, but of my desired romantic relationship. And what this list will consist of is I choose to feel like, so not physical things, but I choose to feel like. I choose to feel like I am physically attracted to them. I choose to feel like they are physically attracted to me. I made this mistake once. One time I made one of these for my last relationship. I chose how they'd feel about me, but I didn't choose how I'd feel about them. So I created a person who was like really obsessed with me to this day, by the way, like 8 years later. And I liked them and they were cool, but I was like not fully like into that. So you want to be careful. You got to for everything that's you're saying you want them to be, you got to be that way too. You got to write down the opposite for you. Also, you want to think like, I choose to feel like they live just as long as me. You don't want the perfect person and they get a fucking terminal illness in 2 years, right? Like, you want to think across all boards. Terminal illness one I figured out literally yesterday. I was like, fuck, I gotta add that one in there. So literally yesterday, I was just talking about this yesterday. So you want to, I choose to feel like, just focus on emotions. Why you have to do this is because even though we have certain soul contracts with people now, in level 4 intuition, you would look at the soul contract with this person and you could see when you're supposed to meet. It's not a process I can really give you right now in like 2 to 5 minutes. Also, I'm very specific how I train intuition, so I wouldn't want you to jump to that without getting the other steps before that. But start here, because even if you have a soul contract with somebody down the road, you would fucking miss them if you don't know what you're looking for. Your human doesn't know what you're looking for. So this is an incredible, incredible way, and it works to a T. I did this with Justin. I was like, I feel like he's from Texas. I feel like I've had this thing with Texas men. I've never fucking lived in Texas until 3 years ago, but my whole life I'm like, Texas men, something about it. I don't know what it is. I choose to feel like he's from Texas. I choose to feel like he understands what I do. I choose to feel like he works with energy and is spiritual, but I also choose to feel like he likes the same kind of politics I like where those two things usually don't align, like the spiritual and like the politics I like they usually don't align unless you are intuitive and knowing actually what's going on in the media. So it was very, very specific and it very much worked. So definitely my tool for you with that. Start there. Okay. Hi, Allie. I know I'm very intuitive, but I've been having so much trouble clearing out all the noise. I lost my job in October. I'm a full-time mom now, and I'm having so much trouble finding my next move. How can I get clarity on what I need to be doing? I know it needs to be something radically different, and I am just feeling very scattered overall. Is there any tools or anything you can tell me that can help me? Good. So how you can begin to access your intuition in something like this is the intuition theme. I'm going to give you tools to access your intuition versus telling you. How you can begin to access your intuition with something like this is writing down, answering the question, if money wasn't a thing, if people's judgments weren't a thing, if my limiting beliefs weren't a thing, if Karen next door's opinion wasn't a thing that I care about, what would I be doing next? And just start to like word vomit, right? And you'll be surprised what comes up. That's a fun way. If you haven't been trained with the tools yet to like get those questions and statements to ask higher self, that's a good way to, a foundational way to start to access that. Start there and also know that your next move, here's the thing, is our next move is happening right now. You know what I mean? Like we wait for our next move to be some like big fucking dramatic, drastic thing. But your next move is listening to this episode. Your next move is the decision you make after this. Your next move is this tool you do. So your tool right now is your next move. And I'm really excited to see this is testing really high. This is going to work really well for you and give you some clarity, like 98%. So I'm really excited to see what comes up here with you with this. Okay, let's see here. I have noticed I cannot feel answers in my body consistently when using my intuition. Instead, I usually hear an immediate answer in my head. You said not being able to feel in the bodies can be due to trauma in the body. I'm wondering if that is the case for me, and if so, how can I heal this? Okay, let's see. Okay, so your level of feeling physically whole, meaning physically just perfect, like you don't have to change anything to be physically perfect, is at about a highest it's ever gotten is a 21%. On average, it's about at like a 7%. So when we have a big hole like that, different kind of hole than feeling hole. We have a HOLE hole instead of a feeling hole, WHOLE. When we have a big hole like that, it is going to disconnect us from our relationship with our body. So a fun little tool for you is, let's see here, what is going to, okay. I want you, fun, anything physical body related and healing it has been the bane of my existence for a very long time. However, I will report it is better now. What you are going to do is write down everything that you want to change about your body. And you're going to, one by one, you don't have to do all one day. Maybe you do one per day, one per week, like take it slow to make sure you actually root to this. But you're going to write how it's perfect that's that way. So for example, like I hated my nose for a long time. I'm like, oh, this fucking stupid Italian nose from my dad, and I didn't like it. And so I want to get a nose job for a long time. And I was like, oh, I know what happens when you do that. Who's heard my self-image podcast? Like when you change that, then it gets worse somewhere else. I was like, don't want that. So like, how can I love my nose? I didn't have to start with loving how it looked. I started with loving, oh my gosh, well, I'm someone who speaks a lot for a living. I have to talk a lot. Our nose has a lot to do with the sound of our voice. I like the sound of my voice because I have to, because I talk a lot. And people apparently like the sound of my voice because they listen to me talk. So I love my nose because it helps me communicate. And I love to communicate and I love to speak and teach what works for me and what I've learned. So I love my nose for that. You don't have to get yourself to love how it physically looks right away, but the more you love the function of it, the more you're going to love how it physically looks. So start to just love the function of the things, like legs. Like I used to always be like, oh my God, my legs are too muscular. And of course they're fucking muscular. I danced my whole life. You know what I mean? So, but you can love that you have two fucking legs. You can love that you can walk and jump and run and whatever. You can love the function of your legs. You can emotionally get behind that. So start with getting emotionally behind loving the function of the thing. That is your step one. And it's going to help you get a better relationship to your body to be able to feel your intuition through there. Thank you, Kate. I love my butterfly top too. I feel very like a little fairy today. Okay. What's a good way to practice intuition on a daily basis, even when we don't have a practice partner, just going about life? Any tips to keep training it? Good. Okay. So has been through all 4 levels of intuition. So I'll give you like a more advanced one. So what I would do is start to ask more questions. So like, for example, if you're like, you're only using it like 21% of your day. I want you to see if you can start to use it like 60% of your day to start. So when you wake up asking, what are 3 things I can do today to blah, blah, blah. Like what are your goals, right? And then you can see, okay, if I do this, how long for this or how long to this? And I want you to just follow the vein and ask more questions and implement it more, right? Now you're using it for bigger decisions, which is great. I want you to start to use it of like, how long do my teeth need to be brushed today for the perfect teeth health? I want you to start using it for those types of things and training it that way. Does my hair want to be washed today or does it want to be washed in 2 days? Why? Oh, because I'm going to sweat tomorrow that I didn't realize I was going to, but my intuition told me I'm going to sweat tomorrow and I'll be pissed I washed my hair today. Like, I want you to start playing that game with yourself. It's a fun time. Okay, let's see. Okay, someone sent this to me, but it was a direct message, but it was, can you check my intuition level? I have been practicing and it seems like it's testing pretty high. I know that intuition is my next move. I'm just wondering if there is something that I'm supposed to be doing extra to really unlock my intuition. So I'll test potential level. Your intuition potentials are like 96%. So that's really, really high. Again, it's like over Olympic athlete level high. So really cool. So definitely recommend like diving into that, honing in on that, practicing that. Okay, I don't know what you have done intuition wise or what you haven't, but I don't think you've been in intuition levels, at least the ones I have, at least the ones I teach 3 and 4. So I know you haven't been in 3 and 4, but if you've taken intuitive AF, then great. If you haven't, start to, whether you take that or there's like some free episodes on the podcast of how to get yes or no intuitive answers, go listen to those and start to practice your yes and no intuitive answers and start to see if you can, when something comes up, start to see if you can differentiate if it's an emotion over intuition. You're going to learn how to do that in the next week's or in 2 weeks from now podcast episode, but take note of that and start to implement that for yourself too. But really practice your intuitive yes and no's. Even if you've already learned them, you're only using them about 9% of your day. See if you can get that number up to like start with 40% of your day. See if you can pull those and your intuitive yes and no's. Okay, let's see here. I'm pretty decent at noticing intuitive hits, but when it comes to asking my intuition questions, I'm totally lost as how to listen to the answer. I feel like I get like 15 different answers and I get frustrated. Any good tips for me specifically on how I can really access the clear answers? Good. So there's a difference between intuitive hits and reading something. There's a difference between like channeling and reading. Okay. 2 different things. Channeling is what a lot of people call it. Technically, you're reading information. You're reading light. You're reading things. You're not really channeling. Channeling, I would say, is like a kind of source idea you get out of nowhere. Even that, you're still reading the light off of the source idea. So people can kind of be like, oh, I'm getting these intuitive hits. I'm not really reading the information, but I'm just getting these random things. Well, you are reading the information. You just aren't fully aware that you're reading the information. So also when intuition is only as good as the questions we ask. So if you're asking a question One, I know I say asking a question, but when you're in my courses, you'll learn we never ask questions, we say statements. So, one, we always want to say a statement. We want to turn a question into a statement. So, is eating salmon good for me today? That's a question. We go, eating salmon is good for me today. That's a statement. And even that, it's very, very broad, right? Eating salmon's good for me today. Well, you're going to get 15 different answers because what kind of salmon matters, what time of day matters, how much of it matters, what are your fitness and health goals that you want that salmon to do matters, right? So it's why you're getting a bunch of different answers because your question's probably more vague. So eating salmon today is good for me. I wouldn't do that one. I would go eating 100% organic, wild caught, whatever salmon tonight for dinner. Half a pound of it is going to get me to my health and fitness goals the quickest. Okay, like 83%. Okay. So now we know. So you want to be very, 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 very specific because eating salmon tonight might not be the vibe, but eating salmon tomorrow night might be really, really test high for the vibe. So you want to practice getting really specific with your questions and your yes and no's. If you haven't learned percentages yet, practice very, very specific yes and no questions. Get as specific as possible. Right now, I'm seeing yours are too general. It's why you're getting a bunch of different answers. Okay. Intuition is the greatest gift on this earth. Oh, thank you very much. That's very sweet. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. What are some of the biggest blocks to having super accurate intuition? And I was wondering if you could tell me what my biggest block is. The biggest block is our emotions. Hands down, our emotions, the biggest block. I'm going to go off on it in 2 weeks for like an hour in the next episode we do on this. But people will straight up think their emotions are their intuition. They will be so fucking convinced. And I have a lot of stories on this of how convinced we can be, but emotions are. And for you, it is your emotions too that are. And I would say another one outside of that is not trusting yourself. So you'll hear me say this in the next episode, but we should trust ourselves until we shouldn't. So if it's our emotions dictating our life versus our intuition, we shouldn't trust ourselves with our emotions dictating our life. But I want you to start to trust yourself for all the times you've been intuitively correct. So I want you to make a list of my intuition is spot on and bullet point all reasons on how that statement's true of actual specific times in your life where that's happened and all the times in your life, Teresa, where you have gone against your intuition, but going against your intuition, you were like, damn it, I should have listened to it. I was right. So I want you to bullet point all those times and it's going to massively help you trust yourself more. If we don't trust ourselves, we block ourselves from being able to read things. So trusting yourself's a big one. Okay, let's see here. I had medium-like abilities when I was a child. I saw a lot of things in the physical world, not ghosts or demons, but other stuff. If I develop my intuition on a high level, I'd be able to see that again. Yes, if you want to. Some people don't want to. Some people would rather develop their intuition on a high level and just see it through their third eye versus their physical eye. But if you want to, you can. A fun way to develop your actual physical seeing with your intuition is have a friend like stand up on like by like a white wall, like just a totally plain white wall, or just see if it's white. Hopefully it's white, but if not, just a plain wall of any color. It's better if it's white. And just stare at them for a really long time and you'll start to like be able to see energy moving around them. And you'll start to be able to see like little you might see like little flashes of like sparkles. So it might be like some angels or helpful energies. You might see some darker, heavier energies. You might see some like dark forces on them. Dark forces are not cute though. So like just saying, if you want to see with your physical eye, you're also going to see, you don't just get to see the good things, you also see the ugly looking things. So use that with caution. Seeing them through your third eye is like way better than seeing through your physical. I'm weird. I like to see through my physical too sometimes, but use that with, they're ugly. Like they're not cute. They're like hairy. You don't want to know. Okay. So let's go to did I give you a tool? Hold on. Yeah. Try that tool. If you want to see again with your physical eye. Okay. Hi, Allie. Can you give me some insight on my health? I didn't get my period last month and I'm not pregnant. Well, at least not that I know of. I was wondering what the reason/emotion is for not getting my period. Okay, so normally I'd say this doesn't have to do with our topic, but I will weave it in by explaining what I'm doing with my intuition to get to this answer. So, what I'm doing is I'm immediately looking in on what has to happen in your body to not get your period. So, even if I don't know that on like a human level, I am gonna Google it, right? So, if I don't know everything that can't happen in your body to not have your period, I'm going to Google what are causes of not getting your period. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down this list and I'm going to see which one it is. So there's like stress, sudden weight loss, being overweight, extreme overexercising, breastfeeding, certain medications, chemotherapy, pelvic inflammatory disease, blah, 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 blah. So I go and I test which one you are having the problem with. And what it is it's stress. And it is also, this isn't on here, but I saw it right away. It's also like stress test 98%. And then also, so if our life is an imbalance, we'll create hormonal imbalances. So if your 8 areas of life aren't like all being tended to, we are going to create imbalances in our hormones. So for you, bringing in a like passion or a hobby to do like twice a week is going to balance you out more. And also the stress, you wake up stressed and like you instantly go into fight or flight. So a really good breath work that I got from Source to calm the nervous system down and like the fight or flight system is you breathe in your nose for 6, you hold for 2, and you exhale out your mouth for 8. Do that like 12 times. You will like, it's like taking a Xanax, like you will calm your fight or flight system. Also, there's an energy work for a energetic Xanax that I do when I'm getting on a plane because I used to have to take actual Xanax to get on the plane. And I said, maybe let's not do that. So what you do is before any energy work you ever do ever, you connect to gold light, you connect to pink light. You can either set the intent or you can visualize it. If you can't see or visualize, just set the intent. Gold light from source, pink light from the center of the earth before you do any energy work. And then the energetic Xanax is seeing like this purple liquid. It's like if I were to make a ball of water, but the water stayed in a ball, it looks like that. It's like liquid, but it's like staying together. You know what I mean? Okay, that's what it looks like. So it's like this purple thing, and you see it coming down through source, and it goes into your brain. It goes into, just set the intent. You don't have to know where they are, but it goes into your fight or flight systems. It goes into your vagus nerve, and then see it rooting down all the way to the bottoms of your feet and creating roots under your feet. And it's like a little energetic Xanax situation. Do the breath work first, though, then do that. Because if you're trying to do energy work and you're like stressed and anxious, you're not going to do it as well. So breath work, then that. And then you've got to balance out your life more. So 8 areas of life are in Glow Formula, but I also talk about them on a podcast that we put up from Glow Formula. So get the 8 areas of life and then start to see how you can balance yourself out in each of those and like add those in. Okay, let's see. Okay, last question here. Okay. You've told me before I have a soul gift of intuition. What does that mean? And what are my specific intuitive gifts? Also would love if understanding my gifts would help me test whether or not I should commit to Glow Retreat despite having to cancel other obligations I made. LOL. Thank you. Okay. Let me see. You've told me before I have soul gift of intuition. What does that mean? Okay. So basically that means that anything that's a soul gift over 93%, it's part of your soul pull. It's what you should be doing. It's what you should be learning. It's what you should be teaching. It's what you should be using in your soul pull career in your life. So that means dive in, learn it, tap into it, hone in on it as much as you possibly can, become obsessed with it. You'll unlock. When it's a soul gift, it just becomes really easy. You just unlock it and you remember essentially. And it just means it's going to be a big part of your soul pull career and helping people and making money through it and that kind of thing. And then, okay, also would love if understanding my gifts would help me test whether or not I should commit to Glow Retreat. So that would be a question that I would have like a level 3 or 4 intuition student ask and dive into. because of the way you would ask it. So I always, to make it simple, I wrote this on my story, but for like, we got on this thing of the glow retreat the other day where everyone's like, what's my percent match to go? And one person asked and like everyone asked, I was like, wait, this is a fun time. So, but what I'm testing there, because it's on my story, so I'm like just testing one thing. But what I'm testing there is I'm going on a level of life change, the person's going to get is blank. And so for you, it's in the high 90s. So take that with what you will. Like, okay, high 90 life change. Do I want that or do I want to go to the other obligation? And that's how I would test that right now. Now to go advanced with it, if you're in level 3 or 4, I would go, okay, now look at the timeline of what happens if you don't go. How far are you pushing things back? Okay, look at the timeline. What happens if you do go? Will I even enjoy this other obligation? What's that going to bring me? How much timeline is that going to push back or speed up? And then you can decide, oh, which timeline do I want to hop on here? Okay. Amazing job today, you guys. Great questions. Really fun to talk about intuition. It's my favorite thing in the world.